Now, today marks 1 month of the Lekki Toll shooting of peaceful Nigerian protesters who were agitating for an end to police brutality and human rights violations. Now, joining me for more on this conversation are Aisha Yesufu, she's a Nigerian activist, Achike Chude, a political affairs commentator, and of course our guest host for today, Niyi Falade, CEO of Crusader Sterling Pensions. Welcome, Achike and Aisha, and also, of course, thank you for staying with us, Niyi. Let me throw a general question to both Aisha and Achike. Aisha, I'd like you to go first. Now, it's been 1 month, as you know, and we're all still reflecting on the events that happened on the 20th of October, and indeed, events that also followed in the last 1 month. But for you, what would you say have been the biggest gains and losses?
For me, I think the biggest loss is the fact that our government is still denying that this happened, is still gaslighting. And sadly, this is not the first time we're having this. It happened with Chiboga's abduction, where the government denied it. A lot of killings that have happened over the years, and the government will always want to twist things and never take responsibility. And you have this systemic oppression, systemic killings that have been going on. December 2015, Shiite members were killed. Over the time, over 1,000 of them were killed by Nigerian military. Over the years, they have protested and have always been killed. IPOB members are continuously being killed, and it's so sad. And even not just from government, but amongst Nigeria, who think nothing of it when citizens are being killed, just probably because they don't like them or they don't like their ideology. And for me, the biggest gain would be the fact that Nigerians are getting their voices, and the Nigerian youth have said enough is enough. They are not moving on. They are speaking out, and they are standing their ground in spite of the fact that the government is trying to suppress and brutalize.
Achike, let me hear your thoughts, please. The biggest gains and losses for you.
Yeah, it's very difficult to say anything different from what Aisha has said. The reality is, when you talk about the gains, I think it is a new awareness, a new motivation among the Nigerian youth. These are people that we had said for a very, very long time ago that were ahistorical, that didn't have an idea of where they are coming from and where they are going. All of a sudden, something has happened within their psyche. And that now gives them an idea, that they're in a position to question their existence and the reasons why they are where they are, and to also determine what their future should look like, a future that should not be determined by those people who have actually ruined that future for them. And I think that is just the issue. That is the biggest gain that we have made. And the fact that in spite of the threats by the government, there's this continuous belief among the youthful populace that another opportunity will come also to assert themselves. And the fact that they have also realized that this matter goes beyond even the ENDSARS issue, the extrajudicial killings by Nigerians and the torture of Nigerians by the security forces. They have also realized that to resolve some of the socioeconomic contradictions in this country, you have to resolve the political problems, the political dynamics. And that is the biggest gain. Then, like Aisha said again, the government lives in denial, like the proverbial ostrich that puts his head, on the ground, believing that nobody is looking at his rump. And so the climate of intolerance has continued. We saw that with that infamous statement by the spokesman of the president, very dangerous statement, who says that if not for the tolerance of the father, who is the president, that the rivers of Nigeria would have been filled, would have turned crimson, bloody, if the president had a different kind of disposition. That is a very dangerous statement. It shows you that the people who are in charge of this country have not learned anything from the ENDSARS thing and are prepared to dig in. But ultimately, like I've always said, it's just a matter of time. Eventually, we will see the end of these people that have held this country down for so long.
Aisha, if I could just quickly bring you in here, let's talk about the judicial panel of inquiry that was set up by the government. Let's talk about the one ongoing in Lagos State. Now, this was set up as a sign of goodwill on the part of the government to get to the bottom of the matter, to conduct a thorough investigation. How much faith would you say? I mean, and we've been hearing tales of police brutality and have been coming through from those stories that we see on our TV sets when the panel meets. But for you, how much faith do you have in this panel, its ability to thoroughly investigate the issues at hand, and also, at the end of it all, justice for the victims?
I think from seeing what the reaction of government has been, especially the Minister of Information on the report that came out
Aisha, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me? I'm with you. Okay, thank you. So I would say, from the reaction of government and what we've heard from the Minister of Information in response to a report by an international media organization about the killings at Lekki Gate, we will see that really they've already made up their minds, and there's nothing, they really aren't going to do anything different. These panels shouldn't just be set up as a means of goodwill. It should be set up to ensure that justice is gotten. And right now, it doesn't seem as if they are interested in that. First of all, there has been quite a lot of talk about talking about the legality of this panel, because a lot of people have said that the National Human Rights Commission does not have a governing council, and without a governing council, there's no, it doesn't have the right to have all of these panels being set up. And what we are afraid of is that at the end of the day, when people are indicted, they will actually come and question the legality of the panel that indicted them in the first place. Beyond that, we have also seen there have been different panels that have been set up over the years, and people have been indicted, and most of them are still in service. They are being promoted. They are still there. Police who have killed are still there, and nothing has happened to them. We've constantly heard security agents, we've heard policemen and women say to citizens that they're going to kill citizens and nothing would happen. Just yesterday, the convoy, a policeman in the convoy of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajamiala, shot and killed somebody just because, according to him, they blocked the convoy of the Speaker. This is a vendor who normally, when they see the Speaker passing through, they come out, the normal trying to hail a big man kind of thing. They shot, they left the scene. They did take him to the hospital, and then the Speaker is coming out to say that, there was a shot fired into the air. No, it's a systemic brutality that has been a culture of brutality within our police force that the ENDSARS protest was all about stopping. And what we see right now, honestly, for me, I don't have the confidence in the panel. Yes, the panel might come out with their findings. They might actually, the reports and indict people and try to give the victims some form of justice. But then the government doesn't seem as if it's ready to accept that.
Okay, Niyi, I'd like to bring you in here. Would you like to ask our guests any questions?
Yeah, I mean, it's very nice to have this the gentleman and Madam here had all these, and they also said quite identified. But for me, I think there is a major issue that underlies all of this. The Nigerian youth constitute over 50% of our population. And I think one of the greatest problems that we have concerning this way of people is lack of employment. So I want a situation where, in the midst of all the discussions, we don't miss out that part. And I think, for me, is the greatest issue that we should put to government, the government to start deal with. Because without gainful employment, we're going to have all sorts of issues on our hand. And we're seeing the manifestation all of this already. Insecurity and all of this. There are many reasons for, not being gainfully employed. Have financial crisis, lack of access to capital. Some of our youths are not properly well trained because of funds are also not right quality. So I think, this should also be escalated to the fore, when we're having all these discussions. Yes, ENDSARS, we have discussed ENDSARS, and it's very, very important. But more importantly, is the need to ensure that we deal with this issue of employment as far as if you noticed or you read papers in the last 2 days, Nigerian MBS has already told us about 14 million of Nigerian youths are unemployed. And if you read the story around the immigration to Canada, Nigeria is the third on the list. All the countries that have applied to move to Canada.
Niyi, if I could just come in here, yeah. I'm really sorry to interrupt you, Niyi, but we have just about 3 minutes left on the show, and I'd like to just bring up one more issue that I wanted us to discuss, and this is for Achike on the issue of social media regulation by the government. Now, at the heart of the matter for the government is the issue of incitement, slander, or defamation. But experts tell us that we already have existing laws that the government can use to, to address that instead of trying to regulate social media. What are your thoughts?
30 seconds, I will just respond to the fact and what Niyi said. Look, we talked about the political process. The political process, it is that political process that leads to a proper economic process that provides the condition for the provision of jobs, factories coming on stream and all that. So you need to solve the polity first. Then you now solve economic issues. Then the issue of social media, the government, it's not because of the incitement of following the ENDSARS situation. Right from the very beginning, the government that has benefited from the use of social media to displace the previous government, all of a sudden hates social media. They benefited from it. But the reality, again, just like you have rightly pointed out, we have existing laws, in the country that can deal with some of these issues that have been created by the negative aspect of social media. And these laws, should be activated and act on them, and instead of trying to regulate social media. And that's why a lot of people, again, we are talking about regulating social media under a government that has shown increasing intolerance for free speech and has embarked on all kinds of measures to emasculate the media in the country. So the government, is not a government that has shown some level of transparency and has shown some level of respect for the rule of law. So you don't want to give that kind of government more powers, especially powers to control social media. This has been the basic thing. Look,
Achike,
yes.
We're going to have to leave it there for you. I need to bring in Aisha here we have just about 60 seconds left. Aisha, your last final thoughts from you, please.
First of all, what I would like to say is the fact that we should all understand that the victims are the youth and the perpetrator is the government. The perpetrators are gainfully employed. When we are talking about employment, the youths are right now fighting for the right to live. They are being killed under the cover of darkness. We haven't given them enabling environment, and yet they are thriving in their various niches. And still the government is killing them. So the people who are the perpetrators are the ones they are gainfully employed by government and they are killing. In as much as we're going to talk about jobs, on this one, the youth are fighting for a right to live, and we're a country. And the Nigerian government has been behaving like a terrorist government, inflicting terror on its people and killing its citizens, and that has to stop.